ready to go? All right. So, call to order. Anybody decides to call it to order, which we'll do now. Budget discussion. So, who takes off?
I can take it off.
Good.
You want me to?
Sure.
So not much in the budget process changed from previous year. You guys will have some changes coming up with Senate Bill 1, but basically what we've done in the past, what I did this year's budget form 1 is that first page where it kind of shows 2025 adopted, 2026 adopted, 2027 proposed. And what we did is kind of look at your historical spending by line and looked at how much have you spent through 2026 to kind of relook at the proposed 2027 budget. So I can kind of go through this Form 1, and then we kind of move to miscellaneous revenue, and then kind of how it all shapes up and what the projection looks like for the rest of 26 and 2027. So the first budget category, casino, riverboat, and kind of not much of a change there. I increased it slightly based off of the spending from about 8,000 in total up to 10,000. Then moving to the general fund, personal services, I've adjusted it based off of spending or how much was expense, and it might have been or maybe a little bit was over budget in the previous years, or how it was allocated between town and the utilities was redone last year. Assuming we keep that the same going forward, I wanted to adjust that to reflect your guys' historical spending on this, and then also include the 5% increase if the council that allows raises as well. I would say like the salary and wages line are the biggest changes. I don't know, Kristen, if this is alarming or like does that kind of track? But I was looking at, yeah, but also like, for example, the marshal and deputy line, we had a budget for like 200,000 for 2026. I brought that back down to 191. And that 191,000 is still a 5% increase off of what was spent and paid in 25.
So we had a little bit of
Probably some fluff in last year's, I would say.
Okay.
And you know, obviously, you want to have a little bit of fluff, or you guys can be so that your management can be flexible and can be mobile, move, and not have to every meeting have an additional appropriation or a transfer of appropriation. So there is some room in this budget, not just like budgeting to the dollar.
So we'll be hiring a new officer, so he'll have to get informed.
Is that total all 4 officers?
Yes.
Okay, so there'll be no more room for another officer or...
And I will say this too, like this is going off of last year's budget and spending, so I had not had any conversation with any department heads or anything if there needs to be a new hire, or adding an FTE. So if there needs to be a change where you need to hire a new police officer or add an FTE, make those adjustments if the council approved that, and then obviously if the cash flows afford it to, we need to reallocate something. So
What was your point?
Well, we knew there was going to be no more full-time officers in 2026.
We talked about adding another one there in a couple of years, but that
regardless, I mean, you're still gonna need a marshal. I guess my question is, if we're not gonna get a fifth officer, are we ever gonna entertain the thought of overtime? Or we're just gonna keep it in?
Well, I know Jacob has said he would work part-time for us as needed if available. Throw that out there. I mean, we've never had anybody working part-time for a long time.
Because really, we have no vacation leave for,
No,
like now,
that's wrong.
like now, when we got two guys hurt.
What Ken just talked about, we've had.
We just now, I just saw a report, 4 cops and 1 work.
Three cops.
Well, I'm saying the last paid,
But, yeah, we
paid, and he wasn't on duty.
right, we talked about that a couple of years ago, having a fifth one. Structure fire.
Well, a fifth person,
So-
that would add $100,000 to the budget, wouldn't it? Right, I mean,
That's what he's counting.
between the two.
So this 191 is the marshal and 3 deputies, is that right?
Was that how it was all for 25?
Yeah.
That's
It sounds a little low.
Well, I think a piece of it, is paid out of public safety, local
Okay.
income tax.
Okay.
You and Jacob get along. You like Jacob.
Yeah, I like it.
You like him. You get along with him.
The town didn't.
You take him for half of, but you take him for the reserve deputy or part-time. Don't know.
It just, it's hard to find somebody to say, yes, that's the
They
problem.
will work when you need them. That's what y'all were trying to do.
Yeah.
Right? Listen,
I don't know what his schedule's gonna be there, so, I mean, that's.
But he is going.
He got sworn in today.
Yeah, he's done.
Very good.
so, how much? 300? So you would add that onto this 191?
But I had that increased a little bit, so that would be, add 39,000.
So 39 and 191.
Actually, sorry. These years, for 2027, it'd be 43,000 plus the 191. Would be the salaries. 234,000 total.
That would be the budget, total budget. For 4 officers.
That gives a little bit of
Get some salaries, that gives no overtime.
So next question, what would overtime pay be?
Something,
Depending on the officer. You know,
no,
doesn't it? So it's just flat rate.
flat rate, yes.
Just throwing it out, I mean, what, 25, 30 bucks, more or less, how much?
The other department, it's 5.5.
Really?
As far as state board accounts go, or who? Through the state board, are you talking? Yeah, I think that's changed.
Well, need to check on that and then determine if
Yeah. I think that would be our first alternative to look at overtime. That would be cheaper than,
another officer and
Yeah.
and perks and everything else.
I think that would make the guys happier too.
Give your guys a break, too.
let's look and see if we can do overtime and put some money into it for that, is that work, Nathan?
Money from the general fund?
That's what he'll have to just,
Probably, yes, probably the general fund.
Set aside, right? 30,000, is that too much?
probably not enough,
That's probably not enough for all year.
another 30.
How many weeks vacation you got between 40? 30 would be really high.
Well, be high. Okay. Nice.
But how many weeks between the 4 officers you got vacation?
I don't know how many of those guys got, to tell you the truth.
You got something else you got to figure in, because, I mean, someone on vacation you want to cover, so that would be one of the reasons for overtime.
We got a problem now, because I got a guy that's almost used all his days. So, and he's not gonna be back until the 31st or after. So, I guess we're gonna have to decide what we're gonna do there. That's got nothing to do with this meeting, but.
We can pivot back to this, either a new hire, like, new hire versus overtime is over.
I think we prefer the overtime.
I think we would too, I think it'd be more bang for the buck, and it would give the guys a chance to make some money.
Don't have to pay insurance.
All that's, vehicle.
But I think eventually you will have to, I'm down the road, maybe a couple of years. That's something I'll have to look into.
If you want to get close to that 24/7 coverage, yes.
Yeah, you want to have it.
Because you're not going to do it with four.
Okay.
And I don't know how much you are aware of like the new Senate Bill 1 and like the local income tax changes and stuff. I'll be honest, I have not looked at any estimates for Fountain County and Veedersburg. I don't know if Fountain County's reached out to you for must.
I will be meeting today. There is a little bit of, like 5 years ago. All of them.
Okay.
We have to. Right, I mean.
Yes,
like
is population below 3,500?
How soon does that start? What year?
So you'll have, well, if your population is below 3,500, you have to then petition to the county to get the rate.
Starting next year?
No, you got a little bit of time, that would be in 2028, and then you'll start getting that new distribution. I don't know if it's 29 or 23rd. It's effect, like your new local income tax rate would be effective 1/1/2029. And then I think the distributions come in 2030. There is no, like right now, you guys have what? Regular lit, public safety lit, EDIT, is that it? Maybe 3 different types. There's just one. And then it'll be up to you guys to allocate what buckets it goes to. And really, you'd probably just get rid of the public safety lit, and then you'll have one line for police out of the general fund, and then put more lit dollars into the general fund at that time. And I'll just kind of give you a background. I'm assuming for Fountain County, since I think there is no cities or towns above 3,500. So what AIM is doing is going around from county to county to just, hey, everybody would be better off if there's just one lit rate by the county. And then you divvy up that off of the population. The percentage of your population of the whole county, you get that lit distribution. And off of their projections, off of what you're currently getting in lit dollars today, you're made whole under this new. That's the whole point of this must is a task force for the county, get all the towns involved to come up with a solution state created for you guys.
So,
Local income tax.
yeah, then now the townships are being involved in that too, so how's that gonna work when you add the township?
Townships, I don't think are part of the must. I think it's just towns, because they have their own rate. They have their own max rate, which I think is 0.4 out of like total lit rate 1.2 of a pie, and the rest is like the libraries and townships. And so what they're trying to, obviously if your guys' local income tax rate, I didn't look at it, if it's $1.50, 1.5%, your residents aren't gonna want a total rate of 2.9 that they can pay more. So that's why AIM is kind of going around and looking at, hey, if we just do a countywide rate, we could probably have a similar lit rate that we already have, and everybody's still kind of like, it's kind of circling around, and you get to basically the same answer. Current lit distribution right now is based off of your levy. So you guys get about $500,000 in levy from your general fund, your swimming pool. You take that divided by the total certified levy in the county, and then they use that percentage to distribute the lit dollars.
So
It's probably not, in Fountain County, it's probably not a big issue, but there are certain places where, like, Whitestown's one of them. They have a ton of levy, they get a ton of lit, but their town's not generating a lot of local income tax compared to what they're receiving.
How does that work when they split Whitestown and New Whitestown? That's White, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Whitestown's not splitting, but when they go to this new lit structure, right now, Whitestown's gonna be a big hole. Right now, I don't think that's gonna be the case for Veedersburg, but that is I would at least communicate that, like local income tax revenue, it's kind of an unknown. And even AIM's estimate, like these estimates they're estimates for a reason. I think they're a crapshoot on what it's actually. But I think here in the next 2 or 3 months, we'll get some more data from the state to actually be able to kind of project where things will be at, and we can actually have a real conversation. So it does, I just wanted to note that because when you increase your operating costs, that no one really decreases operating costs, but when you increase it, we have a little unknown revenue source, which is local income tax. It could complicate stuff in 2030. We're doing a budget. But I have pretty kind of conservative revenues in here, so we have some room off of that. Like right now, when your guys' local income taxes, you guys get a supplemental distribution on April and May every year. That's not included in our 2027 revenue. Not a guarantee that you're going to get it, even though you've received it probably the last 5 or 6 years. So there is some cushion in our revenue numbers as well. So if we need to increase the budget for a 5th officer, there is some room there 3 years down the road, even under the new lit rules.
Well,
Sorry, that was long-winded, but
No, I mean, yeah, I understand.
so in the general fund, outside of like the personal wages and the insurance, and one other thing, on revenue projections, right now you guys have a pilot payment from water and electric, 40,000. Currently, we're kind of doing a rate study for water, and we're actually looking at the electric and the sewer. So another source of revenue, we could potentially increase some of those pilot payments from the utilities up to the general fund if we needed to increase a budget in the general fund for whatever reason. There will probably, without doing like a significant rating. Then on the general fund, kind of moving through the rest of like the supplies, I didn't really change much on the supplies. So I don't know if there's anything significantly different from everybody's looking at it. I based it off of historical spending and also increased it if it seemed like it needed to have an increase, but kept it pretty much the same for the supplies. And same with the other services and charges. The one thing I wanted to point out is the capital outlays. I think for 2026, we had some fire equipment like fire hose, 2027, we have built in for the fire truck, which that potentially could come out of 2026. But I'll show you at on the last schedule I have. I mean, we'll look at 12/31/2027 cash balance. Whether you spend it 26 or 27, doesn't really matter because we're looking to 12/31/2027. That's part of the yes. Yeah, yeah, and I might have to tweak that because the CCD fund, I think had 275, but that was assuming 2027 would be the cash out. So I probably have to lower that to like 245 because we probably won't have 275,000 in the CCD fund by November, December of this year. But we should have about 245,000 by then. So we can just increase the amount coming out of the general fund for that piece. So I had a note, then moving to local road and street. I don't know if this needs to be increased, but I think we have the cash. So I increased it to 30 grand. Sidewalk I don't know if there's a sidewalk program, but I think there was a potential for that, so I increased it to 20 grand.
Where are we at?
Where were we at?
Second page? First
Sorry,
paragraph?
I'm looking at Excel, so it's part of this top of the second page.
I couldn't find it either.
I just scrolls.
The sidewalks we've been doing mainly come out of TIF. Is there any expense out of the town, Jesse? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So that's 20 grand. Right. Sidewalks.
We keep it there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it, but.
Well, it sure is a bargain for them if they had to go pay for it all.
So it's gotta be next spring, it's next spring, to fall weather. It better not be.
Well, I think for that, you guys have the cash balance in that fund, so we can leave it elevated budget, just in case. MVH is the next one. Same thing, kind of like on the salaries there, as I did for the general fund, kind of relooked at what was actually spent and still did an increase. So if there's something changing on the FTEs on that, we're kind of like on the police where we discussed overtime, let me know if anything needs to be updated on there for the salaries for MVH. Not the supplies, rest of this I kept pretty even, other than in capital outlays for MVH unrestricted decreased back down to 30,000. Last year you had a truck mower budgeted for in 2026, and then since we have the budget in the unrestricted, I increased that to 250,000 for the community crossing matching grant out of MVH unrestricted or MVH restricted capital outlay lines instead of coming out of TIF in 2027. Help replenish the TIF funds after the fire truck. And then right now, I think MVH, we're projecting at the end of, well, I don't have the unrestricted broken out. Let's see. Unrestricted had $300,000 as of June 30th, 2026. So by budgeting $250,000 in 2027 out of MVH restricted, it would use up the majority of that cash on the restricted funds. And then we can use TIF in 28, 29, let the MVH restricted build up again and kind of, like every 3 years, kind of budget it. No, but since it's restricted, you might as well use it up and not use the TIF funds if you have it. the swimming pool. Not much change in the swimming pool. Slight increases. Unless there's anything that needs to change there.
Jesse, are we gonna have to do any major repairs to the pool this year? Okay. I mean, you know, the filter system, I think it's still good. That was a big expense a few years ago. Okay. We bought those actually used, but I think they've been working pretty decent. Yeah.
The CCI funds, the next, I think that's on the next page. Nothing there to change, and then the CCD for 2027, I have 275,000 for the fire truck, but, so for the 2 fire trucks out of the general fund and the CCD fund, those pieces will go away for 2027 if the cash needs, if we need to buy in 2027.
Yeah.
So I'll have to work with Chris, and she'll have to do an additional appropriation. So the 2027 budget will be reduced by those 2 amounts in the general fund and CCD.
Yeah.
If the cash needs to leave the door in 2026.
It'll depend if everything's done on time, won't it?
What?
That'll depend if that truck's done on time and everything.
Yeah, so what we'll probably, I mean, we can give it, are you guys trying to do a public hearing on the August 25th meeting? Okay. If we do that, we'll probably, like in the budget forms, we'll have to put that we're doing additional, like I won't budget for this. I'm going to say that, hey, we will have an additional appropriation in the budget forms. So it's going to increase our expense in 2026. And if we happen not to spend it in 2026, we'll just have to encumber it in 2027. So you don't have to do additional appropriation in 27 as well. Does that make sense?
Well, which one? I don't know.
The rest of this, so you got economic development income after tax, just increase that slightly. And again, for public safety lit, we increased that by 5%. A little more.
615. Okay.
Oh, and we were talking about the building last night. I just got a message from Eric right now. He said, I still have nothing. Advertisement just placed for the building, DOT, so nothing yet. So I do not have a number.
No.
What's that?
So that's all for Form 1, unless any other comments or questions. Okay.
Jesse, are we good on mowers for next year? Okay, so we don't need, in the past, we had mowers down last year, right?
Yeah, yeah. We use them big for now.
This sure looks like a bobcat.
The next 2 pages, I believe, is the miscellaneous revenues, it's Form 2. I won't spend a ton of time in there, nothing really changed. We're not really changing much from 26 to 27, other than I did not include the supplemental lit in the 2027 numbers, so I gotta have like a little bit of a cushion there. So, you kind of, that's the main difference between 2026 to 2027. 2020, or 26, we have we're estimating about 700,000, 692. miscellaneous revenues, this does not include your levies, it does not include the property taxes, all other revenues in these funds. And then for 27, we have 586,000. So if you added the supplemental lit in there, you'll be above that. Yes. If you guys get your supplemental lit again. So the last page is the 4Bs, the budget worksheet. It kind of looks like an 18-month projection. So you take your June 30th, 2026 cash balance, roll that forward to, you roll that forward to 12/31/2026, kind of get your projected ending cash balance at the end of the year. Then 2027, we plug in your property tax levy, your budget, and those miscellaneous revenues. The DLGF will basically approve any budget you have to cash. They don't really look past 12/31/2027. If you have the cash, they'll say yes. So we typically, I think Brandon was here a month or so ago and kind of presented a sustainability plan. So making sure if you increase your operating costs or your recurring costs, that in 3 years you still have the cash to pay for it. Your cash flowing. So we typically want our budgets to have a positive cash flow. Obviously, with the general fund and some of these funds in here, I have it where it's not cash flowing because the fire truck is these non-recurring items. So if you back out the non-recurring items, it's still cash flow. The other thing I wanted to point out on here, the DLGF approved that you can increase your max levy by 6%. So you take last year's or 2026 max levy, which does not include your CCD money, increase it by 6%. That gets us to, I think, a total of 419,000. And there's another 37,000 of levy that we can add to that total, which is from your 3-year growth appeal that you guys got last year. The LGF did a weird thing last year where you get 2 different numbers to work with. They typically don't do that. So your max levy is 456,000, which excludes CCD rate. Your CCD is based off 5 cents, so that's your max rate off of your assessed value. So that changes every year depending on your assessed value that you guys get. The only other kind of change or estimate, like with Senate Bill 1, your circuit breaker losses, I think in 2025, basically circuit breaker losses, if your property tax is at the cap, you might have a tax rate higher than the cap, but you guys won't collect on it because your residents are at the 1% cap. So that loss of revenue is called circuit breaker. I think 2025 is like total less than like $3,000. It jumped up to $38,000 in 2026. That's not on here, but it was a significant jump up, and that was from Senate Bill 1 and all the deductions and credits that were applied in 2026. So I have column J, I increased that to almost to 50,000. So I increased the circuit breaker losses by $12,000. Hopefully that is high. I mean, you guys will collect more property tax levy. That being said, so Senate Bill 1 on 1% property, which is residential's, got a 6% deduction. And your assessed value, your net assessed value decreased by 6% from 26 to 27. So because of that, and we increased your levy, it has your tax rate increasing about 4 cents from 2026 to 2027, which will have a minimal or zero impact to residential customers because of the Senate Bill 1 deductions. So I have a feeling these deductions from Senate Bill 1, they phase it over from 0% to 33% to 2031. Your guys' assessed value, I think it was almost 80 million last year. It was in your, for your tax base. It's at 75 million in 2027. It's going to continue to decline. So your CCD revenue will decline because it's a 5-cent max rate off of that assessed value until 2031, where then I assume it'll probably increase minimal after that. I know that was a lot.
It's a lot.
Probably didn't quite all make sense, but I know the Form 1's probably the most important document, and we'll probably need to make adjustments if we're going to do a public hearing August 25th to remove the capital outlay budgets for the fire truck in 2027. And then we'll just need to do additional appropriation for those years.
One of the main things we'll need to find out before then is the overtime for police, is that correct? Okay.
Yes, and we don't have a lot of time, if we're going to make, so I will say the budget's due November 1st, maybe November 2nd. So you have plenty of time, but I think typically you guys do a public hearing second meeting in August. And then I think the first meeting in September is your adoption meeting. So we're trying to keep that same schedule. If we want that schedule, I think we have to,
I think we need to do that.
Can we talk to other
we will,
departments too, just to see what they're doing?
First, find out if it's time to have.
3,000 people.
we will,
Pardon me?
Yes. But I'm saying if that wording's changed, that's what I'm saying, find out, make sure. I think it's just an idea.
we will meet, if we want to be able to do the 25th meeting for the public hearing, we'll have to do the public notice by Friday. So we'll have to kind of, we don't necessarily have to finalize numbers, so I can, I didn't have it this year, but there's a Form 3, that's your public notice. I can advertise high, so you can add about 50, 60 grand to the general fund's budget. And then when we do the adoption, you can adopt anything less than what you advertise.
Okay.
If you wanted to adopt something higher than what you advertised, then you have to start the whole process.
I hope not to go that way.
Put 50 in,
So,
need
put
20 or
50 in.
25, then, right. Or less, not
Go
higher.
less.
Yeah, so we can add some cushion there for the Form 3. That gives us some time. Then I would say at the latest at the public hearing, we would want to know what our finalized numbers are. So we can kind of, you guys can explain, here's what we advertise, but here's where we think. I went off of like 5, I got like 25 a year. That's related to utilities. I think, I don't know, we can work at it. Who's, I think, like 65. Out of that line.
Got a lighter in you.
And so I try to.
Ready for rehearsal? Is it bird?
You got a lighter, Smith?
No, they're not.
I didn't see any issues with NBA. Like, people just increased it. Maybe it was tight. Maybe it was tight. I did increase 20%. So, I mean, kind of increased by, for 2027, it's 40% more than 1.5. So, might be sufficient now.
Why didn't, insurance? We,
say,
I was getting ready to ask. 'Cause,
didn't you
yeah,
say it was
we're
going
done.
up like 15 this, next
Yeah.
year or something?
Actually,
Or somewhere else, so they were saying the same thing, that they're expecting a 15% increase.
We didn't have a lot of claims, did we?
well, we might have to revisit it and start shopping again. But we still need to be prepared.
I think those were the formal comments I had.
Okay.
Anything else, or I'll get with Kristen on, all of this is done in Gateway, LGF's website, public notice, gets submitted on there. So there's nothing that needs to be advertised in there.
It's gotta be in there for 2 weeks prior.
10 days.
Then to do like wage adjustments for everybody, we have till the end of the year to do that, don't we?
We put 5% in.
Oh, that's what was down, but,
Are you talking about like the salary matrix?
Yeah.
Salary ordinance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, they should be probably done at the same time, because you guys adopt the salary ordinance, it's a lot higher than what we budgeted, then we'll have to do additional
Right.
appropriate, or vice versa, so,
I don't know, I mean, we haven't even talked about it, and
I think at that point, like, we can look at the salary order, like, that's something you guys typically adopt in December.
pardon me? No. No, no, I mean, not with what we've got going on, no, I mean, I still think that is pretty fair for what we've done. Okay. I think a lot of it depends what we find out on what our tax goes up, because the tax, or not the taxes, I'm sorry, the insurance goes up, that's still a pay raise. It really is.
Out of pocket, so.
Let's see how much that goes up, that'll play into it.
Guys getting swimming over there?
Something we should look at anyway, probably.
Yeah, that,
Yeah, thank you. So how would that affect the budget?
I don't know, what's your,
I never thought I'd be here 20 years later. Yes?
depends on what you change it to.
Oh, yes, I said in there.
How long's it been at 20? Forever?
Does it come out with just salary? FICA line?
510 horse.
Well, if we went from 20 to 30,
4,000, you know,
Somewhere in there.
okay, there's the transmission's 4,000 PS. Yeah, that's nice. And,
Probably fine, but I think
it was on the one I said.
I would sometimes, depending on how much, you might have to track it.
Really, this truck was twice the truck. Seriously. That was E1. Yes, there's E1. I've been to that
Per
one.
paycheck per month.
Ocala.
Is that where it is?
Ocala,
Yeah.
Florida. Dad's been down there several times, and drove him home.
Yeah, your dad, yes.
You went down there to get it?
He drove home, he's driven 3 home from there, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's just north of the village.
Him and Cuckoo Killer went there first. 69.
510 horse, but it's their engine. The other one was,
Does that affect
20
things
was a-
much? Go from 20 to 30, would that,
20 was a Cummins.
something we might want off, I mean, look at,
Could increase by 33%.
I don't have any.
Could increase almost $500 employee. amount. So, I mean, to me, it's like a drop in the bucket, like it's
Yeah.
not, like it's.
Okay.
That's not that much.
Okay.
It's a pretty, probably means a lot to them and then.
Sure it does, sure it does. To start. I think we, what do you guys think of that? I mean, it's been 20 a long time, and
You're 120 per month.
how many people participate in that, Jesse, do you know?
What's the longevity of the,
I think it's 16.
How many of them?
who's been there the longest out of the 6?
Matt, probably.
Connie's been there 20 years.
Okay.
So it's $20 a month? A week?
A week or a pay?
Week. Yeah, weekly.
Yeah. Let's raise it to 30. I mean, look at that.
It's 16 employees, like an it's 7,700. And that's split up between the utility, or some of it's split up between the utilities.
And it's optional then, right?
Yeah, so if they don't. Yeah, it's only if they put in
So,
UMass.
how many are involved or signed up for it? All of them? Yeah. Everybody? Okay, I'm just asking.
I think we look at that, or do it, I mean, why not? Got it again next year too, Jesse, I mean, it's where it ends up. Okay, I guess meeting adjourned from this one.
Don't rush off. We signed this tonight, I gotta get this sent.
Oh, you mean by digital?
Yeah,
Digital
send it back to me, I got to sign it.
So,
So what are you gonna do with the old Bobcat? You gonna trade?
It'll probably be me, you,
Now what?
Mark on contacts. For it. Cause you're,
Oh,
I can fill it out now.
Got price for the tractor, but on trade.
Nathan, you got a second?
one.
After last night, the TIF approved the 1.3, so tonight we need to approve from the general fund. Is it still 350?
It's probably gonna be 380
Ratcliffe? Ratcliffe? Yes, yes. Yes. He got, okay, I'm gonna start with Jay. Jay got with the owner that had lost it in the tax sale. He's the only one that could reclaim it. He reclaimed it, paid the taxes. They paid us $5,000 for what they owed us, which was only, it was 20 is what he owed, but if it would have went ahead and gone through the tax sale, to the guy that bought it at the tax sale, he wouldn't have to pay anything. So we end up with a guarantee that it will be fixed, cleaned up, ready to move into. And then we got $5,000. I think we come out better. I mean, at least the work is started. Yard looks better already. So. What?